Raucous crowd here this morning. It's great to have all of you here this afternoon. Now, I guess this is the best place to be on any Tuesday in the St. Cloud area, and we're just glad you could join us here today. So, would you stand with me and let's recite the four-way test on the wall behind me. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, Len Carlson's going to lead us in song.
We're going to sing that famous one, number 10, Grandfather's Clock. Look on the table. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a penny weight more. It was bought on the morn of the day that he was born, and was always his treasure and pride. But it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, his life seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. It rang an alarm in the dead of the night, an alarm that for years had been dumb. And we knew that his spirit was moving for flight, that his hour for departure had come. Still the clock kept the time with a soft and muffled chime, as we silently stood by his side. But it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, his life seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. It was kind of weak, Number 3, American.
Didn't want you to take the first one.
Oh,
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
You actually are in good voice this morning, or this afternoon. Lee, do we have an invocator today? Or are you going to do it?
Well, unless there's somebody that has something.
There's someone that remembers that they signed up. All right, well then, Lee, would you lead us, please?
Thank you. Shall we bow our heads in prayer? Dear Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day that we're able to gather, talk about all the things that we've accomplished with all the wonderful people, all the Rotarians, the police force, and all the other service organizations. We thank you for giving us this opportunity. We thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Thank you for this rain. We thank you for people that can't be here with us today. Pray for people that are hurting, not only in this club, but in this state and in this nation. We pray that you'll be with us as we go through this forum today. Bless this food to our youths. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, and our greeter today was Kathy Mahalik. Kathy, do we have any visiting Rotarians with us today?
There was
one.
Identified.
I think Warren T. didn't qualify, right? And Warren's here. Any other visiting Rotarians in the room? All right, well, we do have many distinguished guests here in the room. It's going to be fun to have all of them introduced. I am going to leave that to our program for everyone here that is related to the Summertime by George event. But we will also introduce our special guests of Rotarians. So, not student guests, but regular guests, starting over here to my right. Any guests of Rotarians here today? Yes, Don.
I'd like to introduce again, she was here last week, Lisa Schernick. Lisa's the Director of Development for the Central Minnesota Council, Boy Scouts of America.
Any other guests? The non-Summertime by George variety? Yes, Diana.
We are going to be recognizing the police department, but there's several of them here, so I'd like to just introduce them, and if you stand when we call your name. Of course, Chief Anderson, Assistant Chief Wilson, Jeffrey Oxton, isn't he cute? Kelly Bolden, I have spokesperson Kelly, James Steve, Tiffany Thompson, Tara Vargason, Dwayne Bergsnett. Did I do okay? All right. And Dan McClure. Yeah, you guys should all know him. So those are our police. Oh, he's not on my list. I'm sorry. What's your name, sir?
Tom Maskey.
You are on my list. I'm sorry. Tom Maskey.
Yes, Director Kathy.
I have Mariah Gordon from St. Cloud Christian School. She's looking for a Rotarian sponsor today.
All right. Jill, do you know who her sponsor is?
That would be John Watkins.
I am. I'm sorry.
Oh, she's got a big right there. That's your sponsor right there. All right, do we have, okay, we got to rein this back in here a little bit. I'm looking for guests not related to Summertime by George, not student guests. Any others? Yes, over here, Mark.
As President Drew, I'd like to introduce Mike Reagan from Branko Pray.
Any other guests of Rotarians? Okay. Now let's do student guests. We had Mariah Gordon, I believe, from St. Cloud Christian. What other student Rotarians do we have visiting here today? Anybody? Josh, you looking at me?
I don't see Josh Roback here today.
That would be from Cathedral? Is that
Right, from Cathedral. He spoke to us last week, or week before. Did a little juggling and singing, if you remember.
Oh, yes.
I see our student guest from St. John's Prep. Do you want to introduce yourself? Or Jill? Or
Travis Yank.
Okay, Travis.
St. John's
Welcome,
Prep.
Travis. All right, how about our student Rotarian from St. Cloud Cathedral, or from St. Cloud Apollo? Right here.
President Drew, we have Paula Material from Apollo.
Welcome, Paul. And how about our student Rotarian from St. Cloud Tech? Do we have a Tech High School student here today? All right. Well, I think we have two junior Rotarians speaking to us today, and that's Paula and Mariah. And we'll start with Paula, so come on up.
Hello, I'm Paula Mercurio. I'm a senior at Apollo High School. My mom, Tilly, works at the pharmacy at the hospital. She's a pharmacy technician. And my dad, his name is Dave, and he works at Walters Clerk. He's a senior legal compliance analyst. And I also have two siblings in my family. I have an older sister named Erin, who is currently attending Drake University, which is in Des Moines. And I also have a little brother who is a sophomore at Apollo. The most important extracurricular I've done while I've been at Apollo has been my volunteer job at the hospital. I currently am volunteering once a week for them, a few hours on every Tuesday night. And it's a lot of fun, it's been a great experience, and I've learned a lot and met some really great people, so it's been a great opportunity. I'm also an NHS at Apollo, so I've done some community service through that as well. We've done like Kids Against Hunger events, and we do a Monte Carlo like game night thing at the VA for the veterans. So those are some opportunities I've had. And after I graduate from Apollo, I want to major in biology or biochemistry and do some pre-med stuff because those have been my favorite classes at Apollo. So I want to follow through on my interests. And then I don't know where I'm going to school yet for sure, but I'm looking at a bunch of places. I'm looking at U of M Morris and Washington University in St. Louis are two of my ones that I'm looking at. And after I go to college, I hopefully will end up going through medical school or dental school or something like that. I don't really know yet though. Which actually, that's part of my biggest challenge that I'm facing right now. The thing I'm really struggling with the most is I have all these important decisions I'm supposed to be making as a high school student, senior, my field of study, my college, where I'm going to apply, and getting all my applications in by the dates, and what I'm going to write my essays on, and all that stuff. So there's a lot of difficult stuff that's really going to impact my future that I have to decide about. So, yeah. The most influential person in my life, other than my parents, it has to be my friend Olivia. I have known her since the first grade, so it's been over a decade we've been friends, and she's been there the whole time I was growing up almost. So obviously she's had a huge impact on me, and I would have turned out to be a totally different person if she wasn't around. And she's always been, like, there for me in all areas of my life. So that's pretty much everything I have to talk to you about, so thank you very much for your time.
Looks like Mariah must still be gathering her feet. She's not back in here yet.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
we got her.
You got her over there? Must be hiding behind the pillows. There she is. Come on, Mariah.
Good afternoon. My name is Mariah Gordon, and I'm a senior at St. Cloud Christian School. St. Cloud Christian School has been my home for the past 13 years of my schooling, and it has been a blessing each and every year. I live at home with my parents and my younger sister. My mom's name is Susie, and she works at the St. Cloud Hospital in the Human Resources Department. I love spending time with her, doing girly things like going shopping and going out for coffee. My dad's name is Dan, and he's the pastor at Agape Fellowship Church. My dad is extremely funny. He loves to talk in really strange, made-up languages, and he loves to talk in different accents. And his favorite is Scottish. Sometimes I don't even know what his real voice sounds like. He's a really goofy guy, but he's a goofy guy with a big heart. My younger sister's name is Olivia. She is 15 years old, and she's a musical and artistic prodigy. She has taught herself how to read complex music and play the piano, and she can draw real-life portraits. I don't know where that talent came from because no one in my family can draw. And I can't even draw stick people. She's very talented, and I consider her one of my best friends. After I graduate from high school, I plan on attending either Bethel University or Northwestern College to pursue an English literature and writing major. I really want to use that degree to be able to become an editor or publisher someday. I absolutely love to write, and I can't imagine doing anything that wouldn't involve that in some way. I've been fairly busy outside of school with my job at the Grants at Mulligan's, volunteer work at Pregnancy Resource Center, and various different areas in my church. But I haven't been able to get involved as much as I had wanted to because in the summer of 2011, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that forced me to put my life on hold. I have to say that this still is the biggest challenge facing me to this day. The road has been very long, and we have battled through a lot. But I am so thankful for the experience that my family has had to go through, because without this experience, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Who would have thought that one of my biggest challenges would become one of my biggest blessings? Other than my parents, my Aunt Cindy, who is my mom's sister, is the biggest influence in my life. She has taught me so much, even over the past year alone. She has taught me how to be strong, humble, and optimistic. She is an amazing person, and I'm so grateful that she's in my life. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of Rotary and to be able to come up here and give you a small glimpse of myself. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon.
All right, Thanks, students. It's, again, our pleasure and our privilege to hear from you. It's always a highlight of our meetings. Actually, I wanted to, you might recall the last time that we were in this room, I went through a list of birthdays, getting caught up on our Rotary birthdays for about the last 4 months, because I had neglected to figure out whose birthday was on which date since about July. Well, now this week we're going to find out all the anniversaries that we've missed since July. So I'm going to go through these rather quickly and be sure to congratulate those around me, because this probably covers about half the club. Anyway, the anniversaries, starting with the shortest number of years, starting in July. Chris Davis, 2 years. Peg Schroyer, 2 years. Let's see, Jürgen Craig Mueller, 7 years. Karen Young, 16 years. I may not be exact. Okay, Steve Laraway, 11 years. And let's see, Dan Style, 35 years in July. That's pretty awesome. And then, and Wayne Schlechter, 23 years in July. So, congratulations, July anniversaries. Let's give them a round of applause. Then in August, we had Bernie Perryman, 1 year. Janelle Kendall, 3 years. Steve Cook, 3 years. Joan Barrett Volkman, 4 years. Jackie Box, 7 years. And Craig Child, 8 years. On that page. And let's see, we had Andy Benson, 3 years. Justin Wampak, 8 years. Dan Whitlock, 11 years. Brad Wheelock, 15 years. And the winner is Dave Van Ostrand with 36 years. All right. Then we go to September, and we'll get through these, I promise. Let's see, Brian Pepping had 3 years in October. Bob Maholt Sr. had 4 years. Nice re-enrollment, I guess. Let's see, who else was a shorter one? The rest of these are pretty long. John Swada, 16 years. Jerry McCarter, 11 years. Steve Jewell, 16 years. Josh Hirschfeld, 10 years. Let's see, Sandy Knightsling, 18 years. And Steve Jewell, I mentioned him. Let's see, Bert Hubbard, 27 years. But the winner for the month of September with 44 years is Bill Maney. Speech. I think it's Bill's turn to serve as president again.
That was a short
Okay, and then finally in October, we had Greg Jake at 2 years. John Bodette at 3 years. Let's see, Marv Soldner at 4 years. Seems like it's been longer than that. That must have been a re-enrollment or something. Let's see, Diane Kroska at 6 years. Pat Edburn at 6 years. Let's see, so these aren't listed in order. I think that's about it for, and then we had a couple of bigger ones. Mike Mullen at 30 years. There we go, Mike. And then the winner this month for October, Terry Rothstein with 42 years. Oh. It really is kind of fun to go through that and realize the longevity that our members have. I mean, that's part of what makes this club so great, is that we have people in this club that have been committed Rotarians for more than 40 years. That's pretty awesome. So, and we will try to keep up now from now on, so hopefully you'll hear November, not like in July or something. Okay, now we do have some announcements, and then we're going to move on to our program fairly shortly. We are going to do Happy Bucks here today, too. We're going to have to kind of move through those pretty quick, so get ready with your Happy Bucks. Announcements. First of all, Teresa.
We have the 6th Congressional District candidates debate next Tuesday. You are to come here for lunch first. I'm asking that you eat and be over there. We will start right at 12:30. So if you can eat and make your way right over. I think we're in the Herberger Suite. That's where they're setting up. There will be 150 seats cordoned off and reserved in front for Rotary and Chamber members. So feel free, and please fill those seats so that the front is filled up. It'll be really interesting. I promise. I've been working with both candidates very closely. I'm very excited to do this. We are the first of 3 debates that the candidates will be having, and it will be focused on business-oriented issues. So I hope you all take the time to come, invite others to come. It's free, open to the public. It'll be live streamed on SCTimes.com. I know KNSI is playing it at 2 p.m.
WJON is going to, I think that they're carrying it live. WCCO from the Twin Cities is carrying it live as well as live streaming. And then public radio, NPR, is also. So lots of media coverage. It'll be a very fun day. And I encourage you all to come. Any questions about it?
Who's coming up with the questions?
I am working between the U.S. Chamber. The City of St. Cloud is a sponsor with us, so I've worked with Mayor Dave on that. If anyone has any questions they want to feed into me, feel free to do that. You know, largely, it'll be a lot of the same issues you're hearing on the presidential debates because it's those same issues.
All right, thank you, Teresa.
Yep.
And it is a great program opportunity. You say we should try to be over there by 12:30?
Yes, we'll start right at 12:30.
So what time should we plan to leave this room?
Chris, will lunch be ready by like
Early,
11:30? Okay,
All ready
11:30,
to go.
and you should be making your way over no later than 12:15.
Okay, so if we're going to try to leave here by 12:15, there probably won't be much of a program, if any. I mean, over here, if we need some kind of emergency announcements, I might make some announcements, but otherwise, we'll try to be able to be done eating so we can walk over together at 12:15 next Tuesday.
And I won't be here. I'll be
Okay,
there,
okay.
but I still want credit for being here.
So if you get a chance. Of course you will. Okay, so try to come a little bit early next week if you can, especially if you want to eat. So, all right, Chris, I hear your voice back there somewhere. You must be behind the pillar. Can you make your announcement from back there?
Yes, I put the sheet up. We're not going to do the highway cleanup today because it rained this morning and it's supposed to rain. So we're going to do it then because last week we didn't really get a sign-up sheet around. So we're for sure doing it next Tuesday, October 30th. And sign-up sheet started over there and hopefully it's making its way around. Again, it's free makeup. We have pizza and refreshments afterwards, 5 o'clock out at the depot on the highway, and it shouldn't take us more than an hour if there's a bunch of us. So it's fun and it's service. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And that will be the final date. It's going to be rain or shine. We're going to clean up the highway.
I'm not working in the snow.
Snow or shine, it might be. Hopefully not. Okay, last announcement I have is from Mr. Mullen.
Thank you, President Drew. Justin, could I get you and your assistant to help hold this up, please?
No, that's right. So,
Get it up nice and high. Just got to point that direction. There you go. There you go. There we go. Now, remember your butchering days. Boston shoulder, ham, ribs, pork chops, loins, tenderloin, head cheese. Just 5 weeks from this Saturday night, December the 1, Jacobs Prairie, a Century Farm. It's the old Leiter Farm, now owned by Mike Nisler. They call it Boomerville. You've probably driven by it thousands of times and have failed to stop. Well, now's your chance. Saturday, December 1, 5 p.m., you come early, you can hike the grounds, put a shoulder into the wind, feel the chill, tour the old pig barn that's made into a rock and roll cafe, watch the windmill work, ride the tractor, watch this guy getting cooked. How are we doing over here? Doing all right? Spawn Farkle in a barn. There's sheets on the table that explain everything. Who? You and a guest. When? Saturday, December 1, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. approximately. Help me out, Troy, with that name of that band. Monroe Crossing, world famous band. Going to be there just for us. Absolutely fabulous. If you've not heard them before, they just are superb. Where? Jacobs Prairie, right out there. Don't ask me how we're all going to fit in there. We'll figure out a way. So put it on your calendar. We'll tell you more as the time gets closer. Thank you, Justin. You did just a fine job.
Thanks, Mike. and thanks, Justin. And just so you know, when the beginning of this Rotary year started, I had asked Mike to kind of chair a social committee, and I gave him a budget and so forth, and there was going to be possibly a fall social and a spring social, and he's kind of combined, he and his committee have combined this together in one big party. So this is our social for the year. So as far as a non-Christmas party social, we still have a Christmas party also, but this is a big social, lots of stuff going on, so please plan to attend. Yeah, Troy.
Before we came to Rotary today, Mike and I ran out to this place, and if you've never seen it, you just have to come. It's perfectly built for Monroe Crossing to perform. Intimate, really cool. You'll want to come. It's really nice.
It's really going to be nice, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I also mentioned the Christmas party. Jerry, do you want to make any? I know I didn't. Jerry, do you want to make any kind of an announcement yet about Christmas or not yet? Okay, we have time, but just to reserve it on your calendar. The Christmas party this year is on December 18th at 5 p.m. That'll be here in place for our regular meeting. So it'll be a Tuesday evening, 5 p.m. on December 18th here. So just put that on your calendar as well. All right, that's all I have for announcements. Any last announcements from the floor? Okay, let's do Happy Bucks. We've got a few minutes. Yeah, Jerry.
I have 10 Happy Bucks for the 10 officers that are here. You guys just don't realize how much you added to Summertime by George and how strong it makes our community look. And I just want to say thank you again. It's great having you. I know you're excited about being there, and it's fantastic. And thanks.
73 birthday bucks.
All right.
3 Happy Bucks. The first for the St. Cloud PD and the great working relationship that you established with the school district. Thank you very much. The second 2 are for Paula Mercurio, who spoke to you earlier today. She's very, very modest. Paula didn't say anything about being a National Merit semi-finalist scholar with the finalists to be announced in January, nor did she say anything about writing a perfect paper on the ACT test.
I'll be fast. I've got a buck for my daughter, who you thought you'd heard the last of, but she skydived on Sunday morning with the University of Minnesota Skydiving Club, and she came down and is intact, and I'm really happy, and she's going to do that again. This is $1 for Lisa Chernick, who I'm sitting next to. Lisa called me months ago when she was entertaining, moving to St. Cloud, and I have so enjoyed connecting with her and encourage you all to get to know Lisa and her role there at the Boy Scouts. So Lisa, and I have $5 because last week I was fortunate enough to go to a conference on healthcare reform in Las Vegas. I thought that was pretty apt. I stayed over a couple of days with my husband, and on Thursday night I hit a royal flush. Now to you muskie fishermen out there, a royal flush is like a muskie to the men, right? The women get the royal flushes, and that's why I told my husband. Now it's only $5. I know that's percentage-wise not a great take, but you see, my husband did not get a royal flush, and I had to cover his loss.
I have $11, $10 to echo what Jerry said. You guys are outstanding, and every week I went there, even throughout the night, the smiles on the faces, helping kids find their parents, things like that. Thank you very much. And another one to add for Scott. Scott is a fantastic partner. Worked with him for a long, long time with Summertime by George and all of this, and you don't know what happens behind the scenes when you work with the city and with Scott. So thanks for your partnership and what you do. Appreciate it.
I have $10 to make a commercial announcement for the Salvation Army. My wife and I are having their 4th annual fall fundraiser at our home this Thursday night from 5 to 7. If you're interested in a ticket, please see me. Thank you. I got a couple of Happy Bucks. I am just, last night got back from a 12-day trip to South Africa, where I had a chance to visit with some of our partners in the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Southern Africa. And while I was there, lo and behold, I got a chance to drop in on a Rotary Club meeting of the Umfulanga Rotary Club in Durban. One of the things I learned is that the Rotary Club in South Africa has made it one of their goals now for almost the last 20 years to become, every club become multicultural. In the decomposing world of apartheid, that is a very, very big deal. And this club is extremely proud that they had just elected their first black president. So, happy to be back and happy to play that good news.
I've got 5 happy bucks for the wonderful time that my wife and I had on our trip to Europe, France, and London. Certainly the highlight of that trip was going to Normandy. I think all of you have heard some of the episodes of Normandy and the cemetery. You can't really explain it, can you? I mean, there isn't a blade of grass out of place at that cemetery. I mean, it's finer than the best green that you've had in a golf course. And we had just a great trip, and it's for the picture that was in the picture too.
All right, thanks everybody. It's good to hear all the happy news. Just a quick reminder, Len gave happy bucks, or birthday bucks. We gave a whole bunch of birthday announcements a couple weeks ago. Don't forget, if you have a birthday, we'd really appreciate your birthday bucks. And then also just Steve's trip to South Africa reminded me too. When I first started, I was told that we didn't have any more of our banners, that we were all out and that we had been out for a while. Well, lo and behold, somebody found them. We do still have plenty of club banners. Wow. So if you're going to be traveling, please contact Chris. They're here in the hotel, and we'd be glad to get you a banner and pick up a banner from wherever you go. With that, we've already taken, I've taken too much time, and I'd like to just introduce Dave to take over the rest of the program.
Grandma. I got to put on my nerdy glasses because I got stepped on, so don't look at the bowl that's going like that from this left side. We are so thankful that we don't have Summertime by George tomorrow night in the rain and 45 degrees. But really thankful to everyone here, this entire club. Not only the sponsors, our members who volunteered endless nights and hours, St. Cloud PD, our other civic sponsors. I mean, this has been an unbelievable venture, and we just want to do a real quick recap. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay, first of all, I did not introduce my very, very, very special guest, Miss Jessica. Through a couple things that happened the last few days, I have her with me, and either I stayed at home during lunch today or I brought her with me. So I decided I didn't want to miss this day. But she's a good kid. She's wonderful. Okay.
You ready?
Yep. Okay. First of all, before I forget, we need to thank Dave Matthew and John Putzel. Where's John? John here. John's over there. For the slideshow that we were watching. Yeah, I saw the slideshow that we were watching while we were eating. They were kind enough to take the pictures and put that CD together for us. So thank you guys for a good job. And as we know, Summertime by George was every night this last year for 12 weeks. 11 weeks if you count don't count the rain out. The trolley car was well traveled this year. Motorcycles, we found some motorcycle parking, so that helped. They watched, they kissed, they ate. You know, I saw one little younger couple, and they brought a small folding table, and they brought a picnic, and that was their date night. And you know, seeing the elderly come in wheelchairs, I think we just can't say enough about the impact that this has had on St. Cloud. Of course, we have the special events every week. Little Georgetown, big success. There were some great partnerships that were formed in the last couple of years. Middletown Market. I do miss some of that food. How about anybody else here? Maybe Emmy's Minute Donuts, warm. Famous folks, of course, Mayor Dave and President and past President Dave, who The tavern, as you will see in a little while, the tavern turned out to be very, 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 very productive this year. The free water rides available on Lake George was a big hit with families, younger people and families, where they could use any of the equipment on the lake for free on Wednesday nights during summertime. We had the first Fill the Flyer food drive this year. Is that going to be again next year, Dave?
We'll see.
Okay. The butterfly release from hospital, Quiet Oaks over Lake George took place one evening. And then we had our first art fair. Cindy Hocker has generously agreed that she will do that again next year. We'll do some tweaks. It was our first one. We're going to start a little bit later and so forth. But we will definitely do that again next year. The crowds. My, they were good this year, weren't they? Even considering the weather, I mean, we did not, I would say 90%, at least 80% of our Wednesday nights did not have very good weather, did they? It was either blazing hot or it was overcast with a threat of rain. But we did break last year's attendance record. Now last year, I'm going to make a confession here, we had our attendance at about 45,000. And you know, if the police department, we always ask them because they work with crowds and so forth. So last year we asked them, how many people do you think are here tonight? And they'd say, oh, about 3,000. We'd say, oh, 4,500, good number. So last year we kind of took their numbers and maybe just added a little bit to it. This year we pretty much kept their numbers. So we had 48,000 total in attendance this year, which, like I said, is not a 10% increase from last year. However, if you took actual numbers, I think it's probably more like a 15% increase. We had a great mix of music this year, didn't we? It's going to be hard next year to figure out who's coming back and who to bring in new. That will be a fun job, hopefully, for Troy and his committee, and of course the fire department and police departments. As Jerry said, we just can't say enough about their help.
Stick that on there for a while.
Yep.
And then, of course, our sponsors. You'll see soon some of the financial figures, and if you take away the tavern profits and the market profits, we would have lost money if we had just paid for the bands and the porta potties and the advertising and miscellaneous expenses from what our sponsorships provided us. So those sponsorships are critical and are the horse that basically pulls the cart for this festival. So we have mementos, special gifts for our various business corporate sponsors. And so as I call names, I'm going to do kind of rapid fire because we've got a lot of awards here. I'm going to start with RBC. Brad Wheelock. Is Brad here? I don't think I saw Brad. U.S. Bank. Mark or Julie. Are they here? Wells Fargo. I saw Mark Season, I think, somewhere. Didn't I? Yeah. Central Minnesota Community Foundation. Steve Jewell. Where's Steve?
Steve is here.
Okay. MCI. Brian Pepe.
Here.
Then on the difference between the Rotarian levels are RBC, U.S. Bank, and Wells Fargo were to choose their top bands. So the ones that have the bigger names or more expensive, like Fabulous Armadillos, would be reserved for one of those three sponsor levels. Then the rest of the 9 weeks would be at the stage level. We have an Anonymous that I can't say. Then we have Bachman Jewelers, John Best and Diamond John, I see you here. Tom Rickers, I think, Bremer. Gilliland Chevrolet. Moody, Ed Laubach, and Andrew Stile are one of them. Rinky Noonan, Kurt Dieters, Leonard Wenner and Company, Jim. St. Cloud Times, John Bennett. And did I see or hear Marv Soldner? Is he here? Okay. Not only Viking Coca-Cola, not only did they participate at one of the weekly concerts, but they also stepped up to the plate big time in regards to sponsoring the tavern and doing a nice donation for the Eastman Tavern. So Roseanne Faber will also be given one of the plaques besides Marv. Middletown Market, Tim Winsman I know is not here, but they started with those 4 large banners, paid for those plus monetary, so they'll continue on next year also sponsoring the Middletown Market. Then we have our Tea Club sponsors, which was really kind of fun last year. And I'm proud to say that they're both signed up again for next year. Jim Dwyer, Diane Hagman. Nope. Diane is with... She's in Rome. She's in Rome. She's missing out on this. St. John's, and then I know I've seen Brad Hansen with Quinlivan and Hughes. You left? Okay. Your teacup sponsors. Then we have our civic partners. Again, the City of St. Cloud, I don't think I see Mayor Dave Kleiss here in my band classes. Okay, good. Kathy will take that back to Mayor Dave. And many of you saw the council folks, members down there many weeks, so they are very, very supportive of our efforts and of this festival. We have, of course, Scott Flotnick, St. Cloud. Chief Anderson, from St. Cloud, representing the police department. I don't believe Bill Mund is here for the fire department. Get that to him. Tom Wicks is here, however, from Boys and Girls Club, who helped immensely out with the And then some of our in-kind sponsors are John Swada, Layton Broadcasting. And then Geyer Rental, I know Troy Fritz, boy, can he work a deal. Geyer Rental provided all of those little Georgetown tents every week, along with the little cocktail tables at the tavern for free. So that was a very notable non-member community contribution from Geyer Rental. Lamar out there advertising did the electronics, and we had one paper outdoor advertising. And then Brenda, trying to think of her last name. What's her last name? Dan.
Mustang.
Brenda Mustang, Signs and Graphics, did us a real deal on all of the various banners that we had throughout the park. Next slide.
I think you should first have all of our sponsors stand up and really get one good thank you from the
Oh, yeah, I did forget, didn't I?
Did you forget something?
I forgot on the slide. It was right on my, thank you, Sherry. Yeah, the club level at $1,000.
Oh, yes.
Slap me. Twice. Central Care Health System, we have Craig Roman, Mark Mathias, and Diane Marcotte, who represent Central Care. So, we have Schlechter Investment Advisors. So we have both Wayne, I don't think I saw Wayne, but is Doug Holtzkamp here? No. And then Bill Winter, St. Cloud Federal Credit Union.
I'll take it. And of course, with that, also all of your help. We had a lot of committee chairs that made everything possible along with all of your help. So we'd like to recognize those committee chairs now. From the Special Events Committee every week, Renee. And all the work that was done in Little Georgetown, all organizing and planning, Greg. And the tavern this year had a lot of ups and downs, but in the end it was a winner, and Jackie put up with a lot, so thank you, Jackie. Middletown Market, we had the partners in crime, Peg, Ed, and Jerry. The Entertainment Committee, all those wonderful bands were headed up by Troy. All the advertising throughout the entire summer, including all of the Facebook stuff, Dan Soldner and his team. And again, our first annual art fair was set up by Miss Cindy. All the financial stuff, thank you very much, Chris Davis. Our 3 weekly coordinators that were there from sunrise to sunset, Bill, Lee, and Gary.
Bill, please.
And last but not least, the hard work of Diane and Dave. I can't really say me, they did everything, but
I cannot begin to tell you the time and hours that these people put in. Just, there's so much behind the scenes that needs to go into having something like this flow freely, easily. When you get there, everything's ready and it's like bam, 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 and it's done. But it's only because of the back work that all of these people did in extra hours. So they deserve your thanks and appreciation. And you know, there's always one person that really stands out. There is, all of these people did an excellent, excellent, excellent job. However, I have to tell you, I have to take my hat off this year to Bill Maney. He was always there. I mean, he was there, I think, more nights than I was. He brought his four-wheeler to help us take down. Was that a great help or not, that four-wheeler and trailer? I mean, it just did.
Thank you, committee.
Do you want me to show them what they're doing?
Oh, well, yeah. It's a plaque. It's a plaque. Thank you for your leadership. Now these go to the leaders, the ones that are sponsors. Thank you for your sponsorship. St. Cloud Rotary's Summertime by George 2012. And it's a picture of that last night when we had the fire department boom with the photographer up, I don't know, 800 feet high or so, and great, just people packed park that last night was, so it's a great memento. Survey Monkey results in real quick, and I will be releasing through our email system, you know, the results of the entire 10-question Survey Monkey and all of the comments for your perusal. But I thought these 5 are really kind of the key questions. And that is, well, you know, what's the main goal of Summertime by George? And it's about 2/3 of the members are saying it's really mostly community service, and some fundraising is always great and nice to have. 27% said mostly fundraising, community service a bonus, and 8% said it should be really primarily just the fundraiser for our Rotary Foundation. Now that is a slight shift from last year. Last year you had a higher number, in fact some folks that were saying it should be community service and community service only. Who cares about the fundraising? And then mostly community service. So there's a slight shift this year into more of the fundraising component. This is a real critical item for the organizers to look at our volunteers for next year. In other words, and the majority of the respondents were in the 6 to 1 nights. I mean, yeah, there are those that worked 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 nights, but these are the majority of our membership. That's why I just centered on here. But if someone worked 5 nights, there were 15 people that replied they worked 5 nights last year. They're willing to work at an average of 5.6 nights next year. So all of these numbers are higher than what they worked last year, which is a good indicator that, you know, we're not burning folks out left and right. Like there's a natural fear that we're going to be burning our members out. They're very excited. The comments are saying, you know, what do I do on Wednesday nights now? I got so used to going down to the park, being with my friends and colleagues and seeing my neighbors and old classmates, etc., that yeah, I think it's an important part of this club, function of this club. And then the big question, of course, should our club again support and conduct Summertime by George in 13? 83.8% said absolutely yes. 15% said probably yes. There was one individual that said probably no. And that is a little higher support statement or support reply than we had last year. Then we asked, as far as your volunteer experience, these would be the percentages for the number 5, which is the highest rating. I had a great time taking down. 21% said they had a great time taking down. 50% said, yeah, it was okay, it was great. Thus you see the percentages for the positive remarks.
Would whoever said, yeah, I had a great time with refuse collection, please let me know.
And then just overall, I mean, if you know, I didn't work really Middletown Market, nor really Poppin' Water Sales Tent. So, but I would say this is my impression of how that event was. You'll see, of course, the overall festival that 97% said very, very favorable. Band selection and quality, Troy, the bar is set high. You've got unbelievable ratings with our members and the entire community.
All right. So I'll go through some of the financial stuff because that's what car people do. Last year, the overall results for Summertime by George were right around $16,000. And I'm going to kind of go through the breakdown of what happened this year for you.
Did that include the raffle?
Does not include the raffle, no. And our final numbers on the slides this year do not include the raffle either. You will see that there is a raffle slide though, for your information. Can you guys hear me? Okay. First we have just the entertainment area of Summertime by George. With all the sponsor income, we had $66,500. And after expenses, we ended up actually at a negative $4,088. And as you can see the breakdown here, we have some different park expenses and advertising, depreciation, postage, paying the bands, everything included. That's where we ended up netting on the entertainment side of things. The art fair, we actually had some nice income there for our first year. We ended up at $2,505. And the ice cream, which was a great new addition this year, Diane, pop and water sales, we had nice income there of $37.27.
Does the art fair include the grant, the $5,000?
Yes, it does. It does, yes. Middletown Market, nice income there, $14,860.
Nice increase from last year.
Yes. And Eastman Tavern, this is a huge one this year. Net income $29,884. This slide is the raffle slide to answer your questions. With the sales and after all the prizes, printing, and permit fees, we ended up with a profit of $20,712 on the raffle alone. I think last year the raffle was about 16,000?
16 to 17,
yeah. So overall, $50,589. Summertime by George, not including the raffle. The raffle gets added to this. So, do that math.
Well, to be honest, I thought I'd have, and I'm thankful that we didn't have any dropout. Our corporate business sponsors are so solidly committed and behind our festival. They know the value from their company to the community, that we have pretty much everyone that was in last year is recommitting. We still have 4 members that are pending, under consideration. Most cases will come through, but there's always opportunity for other members and their businesses to become involved in other levels. In other words, if on the weekly Rotary or stage sponsorships, if we do have someone that bows out for a year or forever, we'll go to the other levels first and ask them if they want to advance into a higher level. So once you're in forever, and until death do us part. So we are. You want to hit?
Yep, click it.
Click it.
Click it.
Yes, and again, thanks to the entire club. 1,500 hours or so of volunteer hours to put this thing on, and with the profits that we did make, they're going into our foundation. That foundation is going to turn it around and it'll go back into our communities, local, state, nation, world. But this is what Rotary is all about, and that's service above self. So, any questions?
David, just to re-clarify that, of the 71,000 from the 2 events, Summertime by George and the raffle, 100% of that money has gone into the foundation, correct?
It's in the process, yes. Checks are being written from basically the club SBG account into the foundation. Except for we are reserving, as we did last year, we do reserve $5,000 to $7,000 so as working capital for next year. Any other questions?
No other questions?
Great, thank you.
It's been hard to keep that secret for the last month or so. It's pretty outstanding when you think about the success of this program and what it's become. I also want to just take this moment, it probably goes without saying, to specifically thank Dave and Diane and Christy. You wouldn't understand, you wouldn't believe how much of a difference it makes as the president to know that there's going to be that continuity and that consistency throughout the year of planning this event. When you think about it, we change our Rotary year right in the middle of this event. And how hard would it be for an incoming president to try to get a handle on this thing and manage it somehow, and to be able to turn that over to a committee with this level of competency and just know that they're handling it throughout the year. It really, as a president, you just stand back and let them work. It's awesome what they've done, and I just really appreciate that. And yes, Jerry, to answer your question, one of the goals, and we've already approved this at a board level, is that we want to turn back a portion of the profits this year to reinvest in next year's event to make it even better. So we've actually approved up to 10% of that process to turn it back into an enhancement for next year's program. But otherwise, yeah, there are no administrative fees. Nobody's making any money on this. So it's all going to go back into the charitable foundation. So if anybody ever asks you about what this goes to, you know, you can honestly tell them that it all goes into our charitable foundation. All of the net proceeds go there for local projects, world projects. It's all going to charity. So it's a great success story for a great cause, and you should all be really proud of it. So, Troy.
I think the other thing to remember is even though it's 71,000, the community capital that comes behind this is really priceless. The money, I hope we don't focus, I mean, the money is a big announcement and that's huge because it's going to go into big projects. But when you saw the faces and the people week after week after week and some of the people that really latch onto this event, to me, that's what this is really about. The 70,000 is a bonus.
And Troy's right. The other part is that we're going to start really communicating the Rotary message at future events a little bit better even than we've done in the past. Part of our reinvestment is going to be in some good Rotary PR, so people in the community know what we're doing not only as a local organization but as an international organization as well. So you'll start seeing some of that out there as well. Otherwise, great success story, and again, I just really appreciate everybody involved with that. So I'm going to let you go. It's 1:15, but first we'll do our loot drawing, so don't get off quite yet. Sounds like there were a lot of people whose names were called who weren't here, so hopefully I won't draw one of them. The winner of this year's loot is, well, Emil Radich. I don't think he's here. I should have thrown it. Is Emil here? Throw it back in the book. How about Raleigh Carlson? Raleigh actually just did everybody hear that Raleigh resigned? I'm sorry, I shouldn't announce it that way. But that was Raleigh. Well, I will now that Cap's out of the bag. Raleigh has moved on. He has now, Tom has taken over as general manager. Congratulations, Tom. Almost, right? Almost. And so Raleigh is kind of making way for Tom, and we wish him very well. But so anyway, that was awkward. How about Brad Wheelock? Is Brad here? No. Okay, we'll keep going. This increases the odds for everybody that is. Peg Gustafson. Peg, you're still here.